Have you ever noticed how the moment you start defending yourself, you already feel smaller inside? Why does explaining who you are or why you did something suddenly drain your power instead of restoring it? Most people think defending themselves is strength. They think it proves intelligence, honesty, and control. But the truth is uncomfortable. The moment you rush to explain, justify, or correct someone, you step into a hidden trap, a trap built on fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being judged, fear of losing value in someone else's eyes. And here is the hard truth most people never face. You don't defend yourself when you are confident. You defend yourself when you are uncertain. When you trust yourself deeply, there is no urgency to convince anyone. No need to explain your motives. No pressure to clean your image. You simply stand where you are. Think about it. When someone questions you, your body reacts before your mind does. The heart speeds up, the chest tightens, the mind races to find the right words. That reaction is not logic, it is survival. It is the ego sensing danger. It is the mind saying, I might lose approval, I might lose control, and in that moment, instead of power, you choose defense. Defending yourself feels natural because we are conditioned to do it. From childhood, we are taught to explain, to justify, to prove we are good, capable, and worthy. So when someone doubts us, the old habit wakes up. We speak faster. We give reasons, we over-explain, we hope clarity will save us. But clarity is not what they are looking for. Control is. Here is something few people realize. When you defend yourself, you hand your authority to the other person. You accept their position as judge. You silently agree that their opinion matters more than your inner certainty. And once that happens, the balance shifts. You are no longer standing tall. You are standing on trial. The strongest people do not rush to clear their name. They do not panic when misunderstood. They understand something most people don't. Not every accusation deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves a seat at the table. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Silence, when chosen consciously, is not weakness. It is self-respect. Defending yourself is exhausting because it never ends. Once you explain once, you feel the need to explain again. One reason turns into 10. One justification turns into a habit. And the more you defend, the more people feel entitled to question you. Because defending teaches others that you are available for interrogation. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you explained your intentions to people who already decided what they believe? How many times have you defended your choices, only to realize they were never listening? That is because defense does not change minds. It feeds egos. It keeps you trapped in reaction instead of control. The truth is, people who seek to challenge you are rarely looking for understanding. They are testing boundaries. They want to see if you doubt yourself. They want to feel powerful by pulling you into explanation mode. And the moment you start defending, they win without saying another word. Real confidence does not argue. It does not beg to be seen. It does not chase agreement. It stands still calm, grounded, unmoved. And that calm unsettles people far more than words ever could. This is not about becoming silent out of fear. This is about choosing silence from strength. There is a difference. Fear-based silence feels heavy. Power-based silence feels light. It feels clean. It feels like knowing who you are without needing permission to be it. When you stop defending yourself, something strange happens. Your energy changes. Your posture changes. Your presence changes. People feel it before they understand it. You are no longer available for emotional tug of war. You are no longer explaining your worth. You are embodying it. And here is the reward for those who stay until the end of this message. You will learn how silence, when used correctly, becomes your strongest boundary. You will learn when not defending yourself protects your peace, your power, and your future. And you will learn how letting go of explanation is the moment you truly step into control. This is where real strength begins. Once you understand that defending yourself drains your power, a deeper question appears. Why do people attack you in the first place? Why do they criticize, doubt, or provoke, even when you did nothing wrong? Most attacks are not about truth. They are about discomfort. When someone sees confidence they do not have, clarity they cannot reach, or discipline they refuse to build, something inside them reacts. Not with admiration, but with tension, and that tension looks for release. It comes out as judgment. People rarely criticize what they understand. They criticize what threatens them. Your calm can threaten chaos. Your focus can threaten distraction. Your self-belief can threaten insecurity. And instead of facing their own inner gap, they aim outward, at you. This is the psychology most people never learn. Criticism is often a mirror. It reflects what the other person is struggling to accept within themselves. When someone questions your choices aggressively, it is usually because they doubt their own. When someone mocks your discipline, it is often because they fear their lack of it. When someone challenges your confidence, it is because they feel powerless around it. Understanding this changes everything. Suddenly, attacks stop feeling personal. They feel predictable, almost mechanical. You realize you were never the real target. You were simply the surface where their inner conflict landed. There is also another reason people attack: control. Some people feel powerful only when they can pull a reaction out of you. They provoke to see if they can shake your ground. They poke to test your stability. And if you respond emotionally, if you rush to defend yourself, they learn something dangerous. They learn where your balance breaks. The moment you defend, you confirm that their words reached you. You show them the door into your emotional space. And once someone knows they can enter, they return again and again, not for truth, but for influence. Strong people understand this instinctively. They don't argue with noise. They don't explain themselves to chaos. They know that not every voice deserves attention. Attention is energy, and energy is limited. Where you place it decides who has power over you. There is a silent test happening in every interaction. When someone challenges you unfairly, they are not asking for facts. They are asking, do you doubt yourself? If your answer comes as a rushed explanation, the message is clear. If your answer comes as calm silence, the message is stronger. Think about the people you respect the most. The ones who seem unshakable. The ones whose presence feels solid. Do they argue often? Do they explain themselves constantly? Or do they move quietly, confidently, without needing to announce who they are? Confidence does not react quickly. Insecurity does. Confidence observes. Insecurity interrupts. Confidence waits. Insecurity rushes to be understood. When you learn this, you stop being offended by attacks. You see them as signals. Signals of someone else's inner imbalance. This does not mean you become cold or detached from humanity. It means you become selective. You stop trying to be understood by people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop handing emotional access to those who have not earned it. There is freedom in this realization. Freedom from emotional labor. Freedom from endless explanations. Freedom from defending a truth that already lives inside you. When you know who you are, misunderstanding does not threaten you. It only reveals who is not aligned with your path. Attacks lose their power when you stop giving them meaning. Words only hurt when they touch a doubt you already carry. When there is no inner doubt, they fall flat. They echo and disappear. This is why self-trust is dangerous to insecure people. They cannot manipulate it. They cannot confuse it. They cannot control it. And instead of admiring it, they try to disturb it. But disturbance only works if you participate. When you stop defending yourself, you exit the game. And nothing frustrates a controller more than losing access to control. This understanding shifts you from reaction to mastery. You stop fighting shadows. You stop proving points. You stop draining yourself for people who never intended to understand you. And in that stillness, your power grows quietly, steadily, without permission. The attack was never the problem. The reaction was. When you stop reacting to attacks, something subtle but powerful begins to happen. The noise around you loses its grip, the urgency to respond fades, and in that quiet space, a new kind of strength takes form. This is the silent power of not responding. Silence makes people uncomfortable, not weak silence, not fearful silence, but deliberate silence, the kind that comes from self-control, the kind that says without words, I am not disturbed. Most people expect resistance. They expect explanation. They expect emotional movement. When they don't get it, their certainty collapses. Human psychology is wired for feedback. When someone provokes you, they are waiting for a signal. Anger, defense, justification, any sign that confirms their influence. Silence breaks that loop. It removes the reward, and without reward, behavior changes. This is why silence feels so powerful. It shifts the balance without effort. You are no longer reacting. You are observing. And observation is always a higher position than reaction. Reaction is fast, emotional, and draining. Observation is calm, controlled, and precise. Silence forces others to face themselves. When you don't respond, they are left alone with their own words, their own tone, their own intention, and often that reflection is uncomfortable. They begin to question themselves. They wonder if they crossed a line. They replay the moment in their head. You didn't need to correct them. Their mind does it for you. This is where true confidence lies. Not in loud declarations, not in constant explanation, but in grounded presence. Presence speaks louder than language. Your calm posture, your steady eyes, your relaxed breath. These signals tell a deeper story than words ever could. When you stay silent, you communicate something essential. You communicate self-worth. You say, "I know who I am. I don't need to convince you." That message is felt instantly, and it changes how people treat you. Not because you demanded respect, but because you embodied it. Many people fear silence because they confuse it with weakness. They think if they don't respond, they lose. But loss only happens when you abandon yourself. Silence, when chosen consciously, is alignment. It is choosing peace over ego, control over chaos, mastery over impulse. There is discipline required here. Silence is not passive, it is active restraint. It takes strength to pause when emotions rise. It takes awareness to notice the urge to explain and not follow it. This restraint builds inner authority. Every time you choose not to react, you reinforce your self-command. And here is something important to understand. Silence does not mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you don't engage in low-level battles. You don't wrestle in mud to prove you are clean. You let people reveal themselves while you remain composed. People begin to sense this. They feel the boundary even when it is not spoken. They feel that access to you is limited, that your emotional space is protected. And when access is limited, value rises. This is human nature. What is rare is respected. What is constantly available is taken lightly. Silence also gives you time. Time to think clearly. Time to respond later if needed. Time to act instead of react. In that space, your decisions become sharper. Your words become fewer but stronger. And often you realize no response was ever required. The most powerful responses are not immediate. They are strategic. And sometimes, the strongest move is no move at all. When you don't rush, you control the tempo. When you control the tempo, you control the situation. People who master silence are often misunderstood at first. They are seen as distant, cold, unreadable. But over time, something changes. Their presence commands attention. Their words carry weight, because they only speak when it matters. Silence trains others how to treat you. It teaches them that you are not easily shaken. That emotional manipulation does not work. That provocation has no reward. And eventually, many stop trying. This is not about winning arguments. It is about winning yourself back, reclaiming your energy, protecting your focus, choosing inner stability over external noise. When you no longer feel the need to respond to everything, you realize something freeing. You were never obligated to prove your worth. You were only conditioned to believe you were. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. And presence is power. As silence becomes your natural response, another truth reveals itself. Defending yourself does not lift you up. It lowers your position. It pulls you down into a space where your value feels negotiable. And the moment your value feels negotiable, you are no longer standing on equal ground. Every time you explain yourself unnecessarily, you place yourself in a courtroom you never agreed to enter. You speak as if you owe clarity, as if your intentions must be approved, as if your choices need permission. This subtle shift changes how others see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Over-explaining is not communication. It is insecurity disguised as logic. It sends a signal that you doubt your own decisions, that you need agreement to feel stable, and people pick up on that instantly. Humans are extremely sensitive to confidence cues. They may not articulate it, but they feel it. Think about leadership for a moment. Real leaders do not narrate every decision. They do not defend every move. They act from conviction. Their clarity comes from alignment, not from debate. This is why their words are brief. Their presence is firm. Their energy is decisive. When you defend yourself, you slow everything down. You get stuck explaining the past instead of moving forward. You relive moments that no longer matter. You give your time and attention to people who are not invested in your growth. This drains momentum, and momentum is the currency of progress. There is also a deeper psychological cost. Defending yourself trains your mind to live in reaction. You begin to anticipate criticism. You rehearse explanations in your head. You prepare defenses before attacks even happen. This keeps you mentally tense, always on guard, never fully present. This is not strength. This is survival mode. The strongest minds are relaxed. They are not scanning for threats. They are focused on direction. They move with purpose, not paranoia. And that shift begins when you stop feeling responsible for how others interpret you. Here is a powerful realization. People will misunderstand you no matter what you do. You can explain perfectly and still be misjudged. You can clarify endlessly and still be questioned. Once you accept this, the urge to defend dissolves. You stop chasing an impossible outcome. Defending yourself also keeps you emotionally accessible to the wrong people. It invites opinion where opinion is not needed. It creates dialogue where there should be distance. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves your explanation. When you step back from defending, your energy becomes contained, focused, clean. People feel the difference. Conversations change. Power dynamics shift. You are no longer the one trying to be understood. You are the one being observed. This does not mean you become arrogant or dismissive. It means you become selective. You speak when there is mutual respect. You explain when there is genuine curiosity. You engage when the exchange is equal. Everywhere else, you remain composed. There is dignity in this. Dignity does not argue. It does not prove. It does not chase validation. It stands quietly, confident in its place, and dignity commands respect without asking for it. People who constantly defend themselves teach others how to treat them. They teach people to question them, to challenge them, to push their boundaries. People who don't defend teach something else. They teach that access is limited, that their time is valuable, that their self-trust is unshackable. Notice how this changes your inner dialogue. You stop rehearsing speeches in your mind. You stop replaying conversations. You stop needing closure from people who cannot give it. Your mental space opens up. Creativity returns. Focus sharpens. This is what happens when you rise above explanation. You stop being pulled into emotional gravity. You operate from a higher altitude. From there, everything looks clearer, smaller, less threatening. And the most important shift happens inside. You begin to trust yourself without external confirmation. You no longer measure your worth by reactions. You measure it by alignment, by integrity, by consistency. When you don't defend yourself, you are not giving up. You are stepping up. You are choosing self-respect over approval, direction over distraction, power over noise. This is not avoidance. This is elevation. As you rise above explanation and stop lowering yourself into unnecessary defense, something deeper takes root. Silence is no longer just restraint. It becomes self-respect in motion, a quiet declaration that your boundaries exist even when they are not announced. Self-respect does not argue for its place. It occupies it. It does not demand understanding. It allows misunderstanding without collapse. When you stop defending yourself, you send a message inward first. You tell your own mind, I trust myself. And that trust changes how you move through the world. Boundaries are often misunderstood. Many think boundaries are loud, that they must be stated, repeated, enforced with words. But the strongest boundaries are felt, not spoken. They exist in what you tolerate and what you don't engage with. In what you walk away from without explanation. In what you refuse to entertain. When you defend yourself, you blur your boundaries. You invite debate. You open doors that should remain closed. Silence, on the other hand, closes doors gently but firmly. It does not slam. It does not announce. It simply ends access. People notice this shift quickly. Conversations that once drained you become shorter. Provocations lose momentum. Emotional pressure dissolves. Not because others changed, but because you did. This is the power of choosing peace over proving a point. Proving a point may feed the ego, but it starves the soul. Peace nourishes clarity, and clarity strengthens resolve. There is an internal reward that comes with this choice. When you stop defending yourself, you stop betraying your inner calm. You no longer sacrifice your emotional stability to satisfy someone else's curiosity or control. You stay aligned with yourself. This alignment is rare, and because it is rare, it is respected, even by those who don't like it, even by those who don't understand it. Self-respect also changes how you respond when words are necessary. When you do speak, you are no longer reactive. Your words are measured, clean, direct. They come from choice, not compulsion. And because you don't speak often, your voice carries weight. There is no rush in you anymore. No urgency to correct every misinterpretation. No anxiety about being seen the wrong way. You understand that the right people will recognize you without explanation, and the wrong people never would, no matter how much you tried. This understanding frees you from emotional overwork. You stop performing for acceptance. You stop shaping yourself to fit someone else's comfort. You stop shrinking to avoid conflict. You become steady. And steadiness is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are at peace with themselves. Not because they are loud or impressive, but because they feel safe in their own presence. That safety is felt instantly. It calms others. It grounds interactions. It sets a tone that cannot be forced. When you no longer defend yourself, you stop reacting to disrespect. You respond with distance, and distance is powerful. It says, "This does not deserve my energy." It says, "My time is valuable." It says, "I choose myself." This choice is not selfish, it is essential. You cannot build a strong life while constantly explaining your existence. You cannot grow while being pulled into every emotional exchange. You need focus, and focus requires boundaries. Silence becomes your filter. It protects your peace. It guards your direction. It keeps your energy clean. And over time, it becomes natural. You no longer calculate responses. You simply don't feel the urge. This is when self-respect is fully embodied. It is not an idea. It is a posture, a way of being, a quiet strength that does not seek recognition. You begin to notice something important. The less you defend yourself, the less there is to defend. Your life becomes simpler, lighter, more intentional. You are no longer carrying the weight of other people's opinions, and in that freedom, you discover a deeper truth. Respect is not earned through explanation. It is earned through consistency, through calm, through the courage to walk away without a word. Silence, when rooted in self-respect, is not empty. It is full of certainty, and certainty is something no argument can touch. When self-respect becomes your foundation, the final shift happens naturally. You stop trying to be believed. You let results speak for you. And results are honest. They don't argue. They don't explain. They stand where words fail. There is a quiet confidence that comes from progress, from growth, from movement. When your life reflects your values, opinions lose their grip. You no longer need to correct narratives. Time does it for you. Reality does it for you. People talk when they don't see the full picture. They assume when they don't understand the process. But results are undeniable. They carry a weight no explanation ever could. You don't have to announce them. They arrive on their own. This is why patience is power. When you rush to defend yourself, you rush the story. You interrupt the natural unfolding. When you stay focused, when you keep building quietly, the truth reveals itself without effort. Think about this deeply. Every great outcome was once misunderstood. Every strong path was questioned. Every disciplined choice looked strange before it made sense. If those who succeeded stopped to defend themselves at every doubt, they would never have moved forward. Progress requires silence. Growth needs space. Momentum thrives when energy is not wasted on distraction. And defending yourself is one of the greatest distractions there is. When you let results speak, you shift from explanation to embodiment. You don't say who you are. You show it through consistency, through action, through how you live when no one is watching. This kind of proof takes time, and time is the filter that removes noise. The impatient fall away. The critics get quiet. The observers begin to notice, not because you demanded recognition, but because it became impossible to ignore. There is a calm that comes with trusting time. You stop rushing outcomes. You stop chasing validation, You focus on what is in your control, your effort, your discipline, your direction. And something powerful happens here. Even if others never acknowledge your growth, it no longer matters. You feel it. You see it. You live it. External confirmation becomes optional. This is real freedom. When results become your language, you speak less but say more. Your presence tells a story your mouth never could. You walk differently. You decide differently. You respond differently. People who once doubted you begin to watch quietly. Some will never admit they were wrong. That's fine. Their silence is enough. It means the conversation ended without you saying a word. And even if no one ever notices, your life still improves. Your mind becomes clearer. Your energy becomes sharper. Your purpose becomes louder than any opinion. This is the highest position you can reach, living in alignment, acting from certainty, letting life confirm what you already know inside. You don't defend yourself because there is nothing to defend. You are too busy becoming. Let others talk. Let them question. Let them misunderstand. You stay moving. You stay focused. You stay grounded. In the end, words fade. Results remain. And when your results stand tall, no explanation is required.